Becoming a film producer sounds powerful. It isn't. A lot of films don't collapse because of bad ideas. They collapse because the producer wasn't prepared for the responsibility by the time that shows up. In this video, I'm gonna walk through what you need to know before you take that title and what most people only learn after it costs them. So make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future breakdowns like this. So what a producer actually is. In this industry, almost anyone can call themselves a producer. You've seen it: producer, co-producer, associate producer, executive producer. Some films list 10 names or more. But let's be honest, usually there are only 1 or 2 people actually doing the producing. The rest are often courtesy credits. Maybe someone brought financing, maybe someone made an introduction, maybe someone helped secure a location or a resource. Those contributions are valuable and they do matter, but they are not the same as carrying the project from idea to finish line. The real producers are typically identified by the produced by credit. They're the ones who walk up when Best Picture is announced. They're the ones who shepherded the film from development through delivery. And that's exactly why the Producers Guild created the PGA mark, to separate the people who actually did the job and assumed the risk from the people who just hold a title. And that word matters, risk, because that's a part nobody thinks about when they say they want to be a producer. A lot of us want to produce because we have a great idea, a great script, a great vision. We think about all the creative aspects and it's exciting. Being a producer is more than the creative, and it's not for the faint of heart. And I'm going to be really direct here for a minute. Being a producer is not a glamorous position. You are the designated bad guy. You are the punching bag. The buck stops with you. When something goes wrong, and it will, it's your issue to deal with. You assume the financial risk, you assume the liability, and you're usually paid last, assuming you get paid at all. Everyone else shows up, does their job, and goes home. But every time someone steps onto a set, a producer spent months and sometimes years building that opportunity, raising the money, structuring the deals, putting the team together. Without the producer, no one worked, no one gets paid, no one gets to be a filmmaker. And you are responsible to the investors. When things go sideways, people often distance themselves, but once you take that producer role, there's no distance. It's all up to you. Now, here's the upside. You also have control and ownership. If the project performs well, especially over time, the producer often benefits more than anyone else involved. But you don't get that upside without carrying the weight the entire way. Now, I hear this a lot of newer producers putting together their budget, and they ask, what's the standard producer's fee? 100 grand, 200 grand? People think producer and automatically assume big bucks. If the actors are getting paid a lot, shouldn't the producer who's doing most of the work also get paid a lot? It's an understandable question. You know, there are standard rates for SAG actors and also for WGA writers. Why not for producers? But when someone presents me with that question, I ask, what's your budget? Because context matters. A $200,000 producer's fee belongs more with a $10 million budget than one that's $1 million or under. Yes, producers deserve to get paid. We all do. This is hard work, years of sweat equity, stress, and responsibility. But if your priority is protecting your fee instead of getting the film made, you're thinking about it backwards. Sometimes producers defer the fee. Sometimes they reduce it. Sometimes they push it to the back end, because the goal is to get the project across the finish line. Now, there are producers who always take 10% or 20% of the budget off the top, no matter what, hell or high water, and whatever remains, the filmmakers better figure it out. That's a model. It's just not the only model. Independent film always involves compromise. You're going to have to cut corners somewhere. But as my business partner and indie producer Mark Klebanoff has said, he always believes in quality over quantity. He wants the film to hold up. He wants it to last. These projects are going to be around long after he is. So if something genuinely elevates the movie, he's willing to go out of pocket, not because it's comfortable, but because he's thinking long term. He wants to create the best film possible. And that sometimes means being a little flexible with his fee to make sure it gets there. Mark recently told a story about his film Prisoner of War that I think perfectly illustrates what producing really means. There was a visual effects title sequence that wasn't in the original scope of the film. The editor created a temporary version using stock footage of World War II airplanes. And it was never meant to stay, but once they saw it, they realized it elevated the film. But the problem is it wasn't budgeted. To recreate it properly required additional money. Now, Mark found an affordable solution, but it was still money that didn't exist in the budget. So he decided to have it come out of his producing fee. And there was no guarantee he'd ever see the money again, but he knew that it moved the film from good to great. Now that's a producer decision. That's not creative ego. It's not chasing perfection. That's making a strategic call about long-term value. And not every producer makes that choice. Some protect their fee, some protect the film. You have to decide which one you are. Now let's talk about something that can quietly wreck your film. It sounds simple, it's not. Some filmmakers never stop editing. They keep tweaking, keep cutting, keep reshooting. They convince themselves they're making it better. But at a certain point, it's just diminishing returns. You're not really improving the film, you're just avoiding the discomfort of calling it done. Now, delivery deadlines help with this. When distribution is involved, you have hard stops. That's healthy. It forces decisions. But if you don't have a deadline, impose one. When you're producing your own film, you are the CEO. You don't get to be open-ended because it's your passion project. You hold yourself to structure, you hold yourself to standard. Howard Hughes is the classic cautionary tale. Endless spending, endless revising, never finishing. And that lack of discipline destroyed him. Structure matters. Discipline matters. Get feedback. Have mentors. Surround yourself with people who are willing to tell you no. But at the end of the day, discipline is your responsibility. Some films finish because they hit their delivery date, others finish because they run out of money. Be intentional about which category you fall into. If you're serious about becoming a producer, you have to start thinking like an operator, not just an artist with a title. This is a business. Start a company, form an LLC, protect your copyrights, put proper option agreements in place, have clean contracts, document partnerships clearly, get paper on everything. Do it early, even if you're just starting out, especially if you're just starting out, because once momentum builds, things move quickly. Money comes in, people attach, expectations rise, and trying to clean up legal issues after the fact is painful, expensive, and sometimes impossible. Clean paperwork isn't exciting, but it protects the project, it protects your investors, it protects your collaborators, and it protects you. And if you want to be treated like a professional producer, operate like one from day one. Here's the part most people skip. You can absolutely produce what you want, but if you don't understand how to make it investable, you're going to struggle. And that's not a creative problem, that's a business problem. Making a film financeable are two different skill sets. You need to understand how to package it, how to position it, how to structure it, so an investor looks at it and says, okay, this makes sense. That's learn. Now let's ground this in reality. Most people don't make a masterpiece their first time out. Brad Pitt didn't start out as Brad Pitt. He was an extra, then a small role, then a supporting, then a star. Spielberg's early films, not widely seen. Kubrick's early UK films, most people haven't seen them. You know, like Johnny Depp was the first guy killed in Nightmare on Elm Street. Nobody starts at the top. You go, you get your ticket punched, you cut your teeth, you build credibility through reps. And once you're not a first timer anymore, the conversation changes. Momentum builds. There's no magic formula, but there are fundamentals, legal, financial, structural. But every producer eventually finds their own lane. The key is understanding the business well enough to build a viable package. That's how you build a career, not by chasing a title, but by learning how to make projects that actually work in the marketplace. If you're serious about becoming a producer, understanding this is one thing, but applying it is another. And that's why we created the Creative Producers Filmmaking Roadmap. It walks you through how to structure a project properly, think about risk, and build something investable before you're on set carrying liability. Practical, not theoretical. So if you're interested in it, it's linked below. And if you're interested in going deeper with us, reach out about our full mentorship and coaching program, and we'll see if it's a fit for you. At the beginning and end of the day, producing is one of the toughest roles in filmmaking. You assume the risk, you assume the liability, you're often the last one paid, if you're paid at all. But when the financing closes, when the green light actually happens, when it gets released and people start watching it, there are very few feelings in this industry that compare to that, because you know what it took to get there. So if you want the title, make sure you understand the weight and responsibility that comes with it. Learn the rules, learn the business, understand the structure behind the art, and then commit to it fully. And once you truly understand the rules, not superficially, but operationally, then you can learn how to break them effectively. So if this helped you understand what producing really involves, not the title, but the responsibility, hit like. It helps more than you think. Subscribe if you're serious about learning the business behind filmmaking, the risk, the structure, the decisions that actually get films made and get them made consistently. And if you want to be a producer, don't chase the credit. Do the work, get films made. That's where real producers are built. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.